Hello YouTube and welcome to my next tutorial. And today we're gonna make something way more complex. And actually it is something that I personally don't like making. It's a really complex thing, but we're gonna make it now. And it is the engine, for this car it's here at the front. And I have googled up a reference image so that we'll be able to recover the most basic geometry parts of it inside of our model. And then we're going to model the drive shaft here, differential here, and then we're going to model something a bit few boxy details here, and the exhausts. And I have googled up the very basic car bottom reference. This one is for rear wheel drives, so we can basically see it. We're gonna need transmission here, something really something that's shaped like similar to cone, and then we're gonna place something that looks like engine here, and then we're gonna make shafts for exhaust, like in this example, something similar. I don't know how they are located for the BMW M3 E92 Coupe, because there are no reference images. I googled like a billion times and I didn't find anything. So I'm gonna do some basic reproduction, because actually in game you can almost never see the bottom of a car. Okay, then we're gonna make the drive shaft, differential here, and yeah, that's basically almost it. And then we can place some extrusions like those. We're not gonna make the detail, it's gonna be only normal maps, so yes. And I'm actually gonna start with the bottom because it's easier than the engine, as far as I think. I can't be sure actually. And yeah, so I'm gonna make it all symmetric for now, because the bottom is basically symmetric. However, we can't say the same for engine, because although this part and here it is symmetric as well as this object, we can make it with mirror and then turn mirror off and model this part, which is not symmetric at all. Yes, of course those stickers and textures are not symmetric. This will be complex thing, and we'll need way higher detail, something similar to what you can see here when making out normal maps. And yes, it will take a time to make normal map for engine, but in case if you have destruction module in your game where you can lose parts, it's important to make inside at least very low poly, but something should be there. Okay, but let's get in. The bottom. I'm gonna add new object. So I'm gonna add plane, add emoji x1. I'm gonna call it performance parts. I don't know how to call it all in one, so I think of this name being proper, although probably it isn't. Rotate X 180, and I apply paint for material for now, which I have set up for preview purposes for myself. Okay, I'll go in orthographic, and before I model it, I'm gonna select anything except the bottom. And rear bumper, and everything else I'm gonna move it to layer 2. Okay, now I'm gonna take this, and firstly what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make the exhaust tube. Or maybe not, it seems okay, it seems more complex. So I'll start off with transmission. For transmission, what we're gonna do first is of course take those vertices, we make it something like this, scale down like this. Then I'm gonna take those vertices and pull them in even more. Now what you can see, engine is located here, and kind of cuts where the wheel position ends, and then immediately after the engine you can see this, the gearbox, the transmission, and it's something like this. Now it looks something like this. Actually, this is how transmission looks. And what I can do now is I can add loop cut here firstly, and then I can grab those vertices, move them up a lot, then grab those side vertices and move them up a bit. We don't need much detail on it. What you can do is add loop cut here and grab it out a bit to make it shape like this. Here what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in front view and extrude it. Okay, it's rear view, of course. Press SZ0 and grab it up even more. Then take those vertices and fill them in. What we have here now is we have kind of basic gearbox representation. Now you grab those vertices and try to move them down like this, so that they are just a bit above it. Like that. And we have it here. Of course, you can do such things like scale down an x-axis, making it look different. You can take the final part and scale it here. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add drive shaft there. It's kind of simple. Firstly, I'm gonna extrude it. This part here. Sorry. Go in orthographic extrude Y. I'm gonna scale this down a lot. No, actually not. I'm gonna scale it up even. What I'm gonna do with it though is go in side view and grab this up. Now, and as well as scale those on X to something very small, like that. And now I take those vertices again, and now I'm gonna extrude them in scale. Okay. And scale them up in the Z-axis. Move them up in Z-axis. And scale on the Z-axis. And actually I must grab those and drag up in Z-axis. Okay, great. Now I'm gonna take those and scale on down on x-axis, something like this. What you can see here, that it transits into nice little straight shaft. What I'm gonna do with it, so, is take those, grab outside a bit, take those, grab inside, and pull this down a bit minimally. Now you can see that there it is a bit wider, goes a bit wider. I'm gonna drag it here, SX. I'm not gonna do it as complex as they do. No, there's no need. Again, I extrude Y, SX again. I'm gonna drag this vertex down. Okay, now grab those again, and now I'm gonna extrude until the differential point along extrusion on Y-axis. Then I'm gonna go inside view and test what I can do. I can place the top a bit, or even more. Okay, we have the drive shaft here, and we're gonna move it to here. Like that. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make differential. It's easy. We're gonna firstly scale it up here, then we're gonna extrude there and scale in more, and then we're gonna fill the tip, and it's gonna be done. So extrude, scale, like that. Now I'm gonna drag those down. Select those vertices. You can move them a bit on Y, like this. Then extrude Y. You can see that it's kind of constantly conical. So I'm gonna scale on X-axis, drag those down, and do it like that. And lastly, I'm gonna, of course, it seems that this one needs to be dragged up. And now what I do is I take those, extrude them in Z-axis, move this down, and fill in this triangle. And what we have now here is we have transmission, we have drive shaft, and we have differential. What you can do though is go in wireframe and select the vertices of differential, go back to solid, and scale them up. Move on Y, because for me it's a bit too small. If it wasn't that small for you, you shouldn't do this. And what I'm gonna do as well is take this part of it and press SY0, and then I'm gonna take those vertices and move them a bit on Y-axis. Nice. Now we have this nice setup of drive shaft, differential, and transmission. What we can do now is add those connection points to the wheel on the side directions. Nothing complex. You just add cursor here and press Shift A, cylinder. Type in 18 here, press Y90. Sorry, I'm gonna add it again. 8 here, radius to 0.1, height to 0.2, and Y90. What you can do with it now is you can scale it on any axis except X down to something like this. Then you select this face and grab it out to here and grab it down here like that. Actually take this as well and drag down a bit. What you can do now is check for all the invisible faces. This one, this, and this. Press delete and faces. Nice. And yeah, this will be enough for it. What we are gonna do now is we're gonna make exhaust. And exhaust will be similar as here. to have the pipe going out of engine, then it will have kind of filter or something like that. I have no idea what it is. I have never examined car bottom because I have never had interest in it. So, but I know that there's something bigger there. Then there are pipes, and I'm gonna make those boxes as well, what you can see here, although I don't know what they are. Then I'm gonna make a pipe, which somewhere goes inside of car there. Then they go out and around the bottom. Of course, for us they will be here and they will split into double. Okay, although I can make them double all through the bottom. Yes. No. No. I'll keep where it says lower. I don't know how they look in reality, and it's bad that there are no referencing, nothing that would tell us how to make it. So I'm gonna add a new cylinder here. Same options as before. For me they remained. E92, S, Shift Y, scale down a lot. X, like this. Drag this down a bit. Now let's see which vertices applies to be invisible. Great, we had a lot of them. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna do those extrusions here. So firstly, extrude, scale X, extrude Y, then extrude Y, scale X again, like this. Okay, great. Now I'll make a basic tube like that. So extrude there like this, rotate around a bit, extrude, rotate again, extrude again. I'll drag it here a bit. So rotate like this, extrude, rotate, extrude. Then we'll add boxes there. So I'm gonna leave it open there. So I'm gonna delete this face. See what I can do to improve current setup. Or maybe we can skip those boxes there, which you can see. I'm gonna do it differently. Of course, I'm gonna make this a bit more squarish. And I'm gonna select those vertices down here and move them inwards, as well as rotate around the x-axis like this. You can see how it looks now. Now I'm gonna delete all the invisible vertices. These are vertices which has no parts here. And if you can see wall vertex while being on this view, then it's invisible vertex. Because we want to save our polygon count as much as possible. Great. Of course I'm gonna smooth it out again. And what's last thing is that I'm gonna make exhausts there. Before that, I'm gonna make a little change here. I'm gonna take my knife, cut it here like this, and cut it here. Cut from here to there, and make another cut here. Doesn't seem to cut. I know why. GY minus dot 01. Then take from this vertex to there, and then select the vertex again, gy.01. Okay, now it worked for me. What I'm gonna do with this vertex is go inside view and drag it down, as well as press SZ0. And now I can delete this face. And here inside I'm gonna make a really basic thing. I'm gonna set cursor to here. Here. There. And extrude it all the time, of course. And fill in this. And what I can do now is I can take this vertex. I can make some filling of triangles here. To make sure that you can't see inside through that hole. In this case the filling will be very basic. Triangular, like this. And what it results in is that here it's kind of dark space inside. With shading it will be very dark there. Now I'm gonna take this object again. Go out of orthographic. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set cursor to here and Shift A cylinder. X90 scale Shift Y. What I'm gonna do now is align it to this thing, so I can scale it down. Inside view, I'm gonna scale it on Y-axis like this. What I'm gonna do now is Shift the X. Great. And I can delete here as well as here. And set this model to smooth. What we have here now is the exhaust, drive shaft, gearbox, differential, exhaust, all the system of it. What we have left to make is engine, and it is very important part of car because car runs on engine. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna switch to here for bottom of engine. We're gonna just add a little cube here. I'm gonna delete those faces. And then drag it in like this. And place here. You can okay. We have some kind of box here. What you can do here on the bottom is you can firstly grab those side vertices, move them down a bit, take those vertices, move them down even more. Then you can take it here, this single face, extrude scale, move this down a bit, you can rotate it around, make something, some kind of random detail. I'm gonna add cursor here, add a little cylinder with 5 faces, nothing to fill, E92, make details like this. Great. For engine here, we will make more detail when we bake our normal maps. Oh yeah, you can make it not that squarish, because it looks kind of ugly when being such squarish. So I'm gonna make it look like this. And now we've got it this far. Here we need back our wings and we need back our front bumper. We don't need hood yet. So go in layer 2, select those parts and move them to layer 1. What we're gonna do now here, select the engine, and firstly try to move it up as much as possible, and let's go in top view and move it like this sideways. What I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna go out of this view, I'm gonna set cursor to here and move this vertex to cursor. Then I'm gonna there. I'm gonna set cursor to here and set this vertex to cursor. Then set cursor there and move vertex cursor, and the last one is gonna be placed like this. You can go in orthographic side view to place it like that. You can see how high the engine, how high you can place it. Right. Now you can set your view to those faces. You don't need high detail for engine. You actually needs to be really low detail. I'm gonna move this vertex here so that it is kind of there where the transmission is. I'll try to connect them, sort. And here in the wheel it looks a bit wrong. I'm gonna look at here, select this edge and move it inwards. Select this edge in the front there and move it this way. You can until it okay, and move those vertices like this. Then take this face and move it inwards even more till all those artifacts are gone. Okay, this looks a bit odd. I'll better move it up, out and up. Like that. And yeah, this is the basic shape, and what we are gonna do now is make most important parts of it. It's this kind of, I think that here are the cylinders placed. This is the V8 engine, and these are some kind of marking for cylinders, and this is the V shape of it. So this is the box of cylinders with this shaft where I guess ether fuel or air is let through. Good question. Um, I think the turbine is here. Is it? Huh. Good question. I'm thinking that it could be there because here is also the air intake, so it could be there. And here is where you fill in the oil and things like that. I'm gonna make this kind of box of liquid. I'm gonna make this cylinders box, this shaft, then I'm gonna make this thing here with the air intake thingy. Oh, sorry. And then I'm gonna make this thing which is turbine, I think, but I can't be sure. But I think that it's turbine, and maybe those. Firstly, let's start with more important parts, and the most important part is the cylinders box. It's also the most noticeable thing all through the engine. You can't see anything else as much as the cylinders box. Cursor to here, Shift A, cursor here, Shift A, cube. I'm gonna move that far now, so that I can easier edit it. I'm gonna delete those two vertices. I mean faces. Go in this here, select them, and move them back inwards, so that they match. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in top view and adjust them. Like, I can see that it is almost there at the point where window is. So I'm gonna drag it to here and I'm gonna press SY because it's huge in this direction, and then I'm gonna press SX as well to make it bigger in size, and like it looks fine for me like this. Now in top view I can drag those in to make it look around there. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna look at here in top view, select those vertices and move them in. I'm gonna knife here, as well as knife here, like this. Then I'm gonna select those vertices SX0 and SY0, and in top view move them like that. And now we have kind of shape what you can see there. I'm gonna take those vertices here and move them like this to make it rounder. Those vertices I'm gonna move like this to kind of fit it in better. Or no, especially opposite, I'm gonna round in it. Now I'm gonna take those faces, move them like this, select those faces and move them up a bit, select all of the above faces and scale them in a bit and move them down. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna extrude those faces, scale up and move up, or opposite. I'm gonna firstly actually scale them up, then extrude, scale down and move them up like that. Nice. Now I'm gonna go in this view, it's wireframe, select them all, move down, rotate in X to kind of fit in here. And we have our cylinders box here. Of course, one more thing that you can do is extrude that thing up. So firstly I'm gonna scale it, I'm gonna move those like that to make the V shape of the cylinder box, and then I'm gonna select this, extrude Z, or not, just select them and extrude in normal direction and scale them down a bit. Maybe move them down as well, not extrude them too much. Nice. Now we have our cylinders box. You may want to adjust it. The best way to see if it's correctly adjusted is to actually press 2 for layer 2, and it's fine, as you can see, because it doesn't go out of the hood. It even has space here. It's meant to be big, actually, as you can see. And it's still fine like this. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it like that. Next detail that I'm gonna do is actually this tube going out of it, which is, I am pretty sure that this is turbine. If I'm wrong, I wish you could correct me and tell what it is, but I'm kind of sure that it is turbine. So I'm gonna select those faces, extrude them like this, scale Y0. That will do one important thing here. Okay, and now what I can afford to do is delete those faces, because they're not needed there, as well as this face. What I can do here is also to make it round, like that. Something like that. And now I'm gonna actually also check if there are any invisible vertices here, which are only inside the engine. And okay, there's no need for this thing here. Now if I take a careful look, some of those vertices, they're invisible actually. I'm gonna move this down a bit. Okay, and I've got rid of useless vertices, which is good. Now I'm gonna again select these vertices here, go in top view, and now I'm not able to extrude them, not yet, because I have a mirror modifier. So I'm gonna leave them. I'm gonna take them in actually scale on x-axis. What I can do now, oh, I just noticed a problem here. Well, I'm gonna quickly take a knife tool, cut it like this, and here inside, if it allows me to do, I'm gonna cut here, which is gonna remove the 5 poly, and here I'm gonna cut like this. Now I can actually move this vertex a bit up. What I can do with this vertex is currently seems wrong, so I can take those vertices, move them like that. Okay, now it is finer for me. I can move those vertices and sideways to make a filling actually, because I don't need engine to touch the very end there, because it will basically never be possible to see there. Okay, Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make air intake. I think that it is air intake because it's connected to those walls. It should be. Let's hope it is, otherwise I'm wrong. Otherwise I'm wrong about the way that this car is built, and it's not to be wrong about something. If I'm if I have misinformed myself, then then I don't know what's that. It's not good, that's all. I'm gonna move those vertices in like this, and what you can see there is that this vertex can be extruded and scaled like that, and then extruded in. Well, extruded, and then I can delete the faces here. Okay, great. What I can do here is remove invisible faces, like that. Amazing, we have this air intake kind of. And now I'm gonna take those faces. I'm gonna drag those faces like this. Then select all of this. Extrude Y. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna do Alt M at last, as well as on bottom. Alt M at last, and delete this face, as well as this face, as well as this face. Okay. I'm gonna scale those down, and that's it. What you can see there, it's kind of round thing there. I'm gonna move those vertices up, otherwise it's harder to manage them. Scale them on that a bit and rotate around the x-axis. Okay, now I'm gonna take this in like that, make it rounder. And yeah, this is the intake of air. Now I'm gonna make those firstly. Yeah, those. I'm not gonna make that kind of wiry tube. I'm gonna just make those flat things there. To make them, I'm gonna go in top view, add plane, or I'm gonna add plane there, and I'm gonna set its radius to 0.1. Great. Now what I can do is kind of match the shape to them. Firstly, I'm gonna rotate around the x-axis, as well as y-axis. To kind of make it fit the surface. Now it seems to be something similar to this. Yeah, kind of. And what I can see there is that the shape is a bit more complex there. Something like that. Yes. So basically, firstly let's make it very round here, because it seems to be kind of round curve there, like this, and then pull this in. What I'm gonna do with them now is scale Z0, rotate around X, and rotate around Y. Now I'm gonna go in edge select mode, select the outer edges, extrude Z. I'm gonna set it to smooth now, again, and I'm gonna apply mirror. What I can do now is I can, what I see being wrong in there is actually this cylinder's boxes need to be bigger. So let's select it all again. Sorry for this, it's just a matter of me that I have set it to be too small. I'm gonna press S for scale. Make sure that it still fits. I'm gonna press 2, see how much I can scale it. Okay. Now it looks fine. What I can do now is select those vertices here. Go in top view again, and rotate them firstly, and scale them except Z-axis to make them look like in the reference image, and then extrude rotate to make that hole there. Not that difficult to do. I'm gonna drag them up a bit. Extrude like this, rotate like this, scale down a bit. Again, extrude, rotate, scale. Okay, and extrude a bit, scale up a lot, like this. Okay, and you can see that there's also an output from this, what I call air intake, although I don't know what it is, but I am kind of thinking that it could be air intake. I'm gonna try to match all of these vertices here. So I'm gonna grab all of those faces and move them in like that. Rotate around the x-axis. Now I'm gonna select this thing. Delete faces. Now I can take every single vertex here of this and adjust them. Whoa, invisible face, I don't need it here at all. Okay, and I can merge this at here. Nice. And both of them goes inside of that thing. That's kind of, I don't know what it looks like. I don't know how to describe its appearance. I can make it filling that, then go in top view while selecting those faces, extrude them, rotate around. As you can see, it's kind of, extrude them here, rotate, extrude them here, rotate, extrude, and extrude here, extrude there, like that. Oh, opposite. I'll set up it not as it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like this. Wait, no. What am I doing? And lastly, let's make it return kind of the... I'll correct it here firstly to look better. Then I'm gonna select those vertices. I'm gonna drag them up. Rotate, extrude, rotate. And fill in this point with filling. Filling. That sounds creepy. Okay. Fill all of this with its filling. Then take all of those faces, press SZ0. Go inside view and rotate it like that. Great! I'm gonna scale it down and drag it up a bit. Like this. And there's one more thing for us to do. It's adding this thing here. I don't want to do anything else. Add cube. Delete this face because it's invisible, and drag this in like this. Scale a bit, scale on Y. Extrude scale, scale X, and extrude up. Then select all of those faces here and drag them down. Rotate around X, also around Y. Okay, great. Again, set it to smooth, and nice. Now we have this engine thingy done. Now if we move out everything here back, it kind of looks correct. I don't see any problems with it. So basically we have finished our performance parts, all of those parts like engine, differential, exhausts, drive train, or gearbox, or whatever you call it, transmission. And the important and difficult part, the engine. It's very low poly model, but we don't need higher, because in games the only one of the rare cases when you can see it is when you crash. In some games it's like you can see this thing a bit shaking and then there's a little part visible, or even if you lose it, when we will have normal map, it will look good enough, because I don't think that you will have a camera like this in game, or else an animation. You will have camera like this, maybe camera like this, inside camera, top camera, but all of them will be far enough from engine so that it isn't looking bad. In my case, I think that I will leave it like this. You can actually take this and hold down shift and select the bottom and join them, but I don't need it, because I think that I'll have in my game option like that. Whenever I'm tuning car, the visual objects of it will be a bit replaced. Okay, this is it for this time. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If so, please press like and subscribe if you haven't done it already. In this time I say thank you for watching and goodbye. And then we'll see you next time.